All right, let's try this one. Essentially, what I think is the most important thing is I really want to always apply the math that we're learning. And I told you guys that learning about exponential functions is a good thing. It's really will help you out with things. Even though a lot of times you feel like it's not applicable to you, I think that it's the best thing I can do is basically show you how this thing is applied. Now, granted that maybe you might not be worrying about this until you retire, or maybe you might not be worried about this until you really get into finances, but showing you how math applies to the world shows you, validates for you why you should learn math, because you learn logic. So let's try this one together. You've just landed your dream job as an architectural, actual, I don't know why I can't read today, analyst of Acme Consulting, which is currently considering changing its retirement plans. Current trends indicate the college graduates just entering the workforce anticipate changing jobs multiple times during their career, and Acme is attempting to provide some incentive for company loyalty by offering various retirement incentives. Your first charge as a new Acme employee is to analyze the advantages and disadvantages of 3 possible retirement plans. The details of each plan is provided below. Okay. Audio check. Can you guys hear me? Just making sure. Yes, no. Awesome. Okay, good. Plan A, upon retirement, employees choose an option that will receive a lump sum payment of $10,000 times X, X being the number of years you worked. Whoa, that's actually pretty good. I mean, if you were worked for 40 years, you would make $40,000, right? What do you guys think? You guys like that one? All right. Plan B. Upon retirement, employees choosing this option will receive a lump sum payment in an amount of 1,000 times X squared. X squared being the number of years you worked. Okay, all right. That's actually, I don't know if it's better. Well, let's see. If you work 40 years, 40 times 40 is 1,600. 1,600 times 1,000, that's 160. Wait. Yeah, that's. Wait. 40 times 40 is 1,600. Multiply that by 1,000, that's $16 million. That is a lot of money. Okay, all right. Upon retirement, each employee choosing this option will receive a lump sum payment in the amount of 2 to the X, where X is the number of stuff. All right, good. Conditions. Each employee must choose which plan they will use before the first year of service is complete. For each plan, the employee must complete the entire X year before being able to claim X years of service. Okay. For example, if an employee retires 14 after 14 years and 9 months, she can only claim 14 years. Plans B and C have a mandatory 20-year requirements. Okay, so you can't get to plan B and C unless you do mandatory 20 years. Employees in plan B and C may continue to work after 20 years of service, but the retirements amounts remain constant beyond 20 years. For plan A, there is no such stipulation. Oh, I see. So you can't, for plan B and C, you can't go over 20 years. Which to me sounds about right. Because, like, if you, like I said, if you work 40 years and they put in 40 in for X, for plan B, that's $16 million. All right. Let's figure out which one you should choose. Okay? By the way, I got a question. Which one would you choose, A, B, or C? This is a gut check. I'm just, based off of your gut feeling, which one would you choose? Come on, I need you to answer in the next 10 seconds. Sam, Kaylin, Elijah? Can you guys even hear me? All right, so would you like plan A, B, or C? Which one would you like? You got 10 seconds to decide. 1 second. All right, so it's working now. So you would choose plan C. All right. What about you, Kaylin? What about you, Elijah? Which one would you do, A, B, or C? Well, I'm just asking, which retirement plan would you choose, A, B, or C? All right. Hey, to be honest with you, I don't think there is a right or wrong answer. I think that the answer is, well, there definitely is a right answer. It's the one that gives you the most money. But I think that the thing might be a little bit more complicated than, not complicated, but just the results might be surprising. Let's see. All right, let's make a table. Year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 20. And here's what you got. You got $10,000, $1,000, 2 to the X power. Okay, so here's what I would do. If I wanted to try to compare these three, and I would have to fill out this table, first of all, I wouldn't make a table. Well, I wouldn't fill it out by hand. I would go to Google Drive. Okay? Mr. Dalday is going to show you how he would do things. All right, let's see. All right. Let's do a new spreadsheet. I'm going to call this one year. Dude, come on, spreadsheet, start working. I'm going to call this year. I'll call this plan A, plan B, and plan C. All right. So for plan A, it's 1,000 or 10,000 times X. This one is 1,000 times X squared. And this one is 2 to the X power. So let's go with year 1, 2, 3, all the way down. Make a little spreadsheet, go all the way up to 20. Actually, you know what? Let's go up to here. Let's go past there. And then here's what we'll do. This is equal to this times 10,000. This is equal to 1,000 times this times that again. And this one is equal to 2 caret that number. Cool? So if you work 1 year, then you'll get, if you choose plan A, you'll get $10,000. If you choose plan B, you'll get $1,000. And if you choose plan C, you'll get $2. See, all of you guys are saying plan C is way better, but really, is it? Is it better? I mean, if it isn't better if you only work a year. You know what I mean? You're getting more money with plan A. So I mean, if you're saying, well, this might not be like my dream job, so I'm gonna work this for another 5 years and then I'll move out. Well, let's see which one you should choose if you're only planning to work there for 5 years. Because I want to get the CEO office up in New York somewhere, So I'm just going to drag that down, and we'll look at this thing. So if you work only 5 years, which one do you make more money off of? Plan A, B, or C? You make $50,000 over here. You make half of that over here, and you make $32 over here. Your retirement's going to be $32. So I guess my question is, at which point would you say that Plan C is a better one? Because I think that you guys are all seeing the thing. And then here's what we'll do: is we'll drag this thing down even further, and we'll continue these things down. even further. But this thing says times 20 times 20. And this one is so after 20 years, it says you don't accumulate anything else. Is that right? Is that what that thing said? I just want to make sure. So let's see. After 20 years of service, the retirement amount remains constant after beyond 20 years. Okay, all right, cool. So let's do this, and then let's keep going. Let's go all the way out to 50 years. Some people last for 50 years. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. Because it's easier for me to see. By the way, can you guys still hear me? Is the audio still coming through? Good. Because it's easier to see, I'm going to do this. I'm going to graph these three things. Let's go to Insert, a Chart. Let's do a little scatter plot. That's good. Awesome. I like that one. Okay. So, insert that one. Did it insert it? Insert chart. Do a scatter plot for me. Boom. Insert that, please. Did it do it? Oh, there it is. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move to own sheet. There we go. So we can see it really close up. There we go. Awesome. So here's what we got. You're going along and you go so the blue graph is the constant $10,000. Okay? This one is blue graph is plan A. I should label it. You know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to delete this chart. Okay, wait 1 second. There we go. Okay, let me show you how to do this chart. All right, I'm going to delete this row. Then I'm going to graph it like that. All right, yeah, there we go. So I'm going to insert chart, scatter plot. That looks nice. Insert. There we go. Move to own sheet. All right, so check this out. Plan A is blue, Plan B is red, and Plan C is orange. Now, if you work for Plan A, you will actually make more money. Anytime, whichever graph is on top, that's the one that makes more money. So it looks to me, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to add vertical lines. Oh, let's see. I want customize. Give me a horizontal axis label. So there we go. Here we go. Let's do major, minor. that should work. All right. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, all right, cool. So it looks to me like after about year, so if you plan on working there under 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, under 10 years, okay? If you plan on working there under 10 years, which plan should you choose? Plan A. Awesome. If you plan on working there at exactly 18 years, which plan should you choose? Plan B. And if you plan on working there 19 years, which plan should you choose? Plan C. And if you plan on working there 20 years, man, look at this thing right here. It jumps all the way up to $1,048,576 for your retirement. Which I mean, I'm not close to retirement age. I don't even know, to be honest with you. I hope I keep track of these things. I don't really do that. I should probably do a lot better job. But I mean, think about it. Look at that exponential growth. Boom! You go up quick. But I mean, it's like pennies over here, right? So if you should only choose this option if you plan on staying there for over 20 years, over 19 years. You see what I mean? Now, who's going to win in the end? Yeah, exactly, Elijah. Actually, Plan A will win in the end. My question to you is, how long do you have to work for Plan A to win over Plan C? I'll tell you what, let's just pull this. All right, let me delete this thing. Let's just pull this thing down a little bit more. We shall see. Well, let's see. You would have to work. Wait till this number is bigger. There we go. You would have to work 101 years on Plan A in order to beat Plan C. So, if you are working and person who chooses Plan C works for 20 years and then they retire, they're going to get $1,048,576. Person who chooses Plan A would have to work 101 years, additional 81 years, and then they'll be like, ha ha, loser, I got more money than you. I am making an addition, I made, $61,000 more than you. It only took 81 years more of work. So, anyway, they'd have to work like 3 times the amount of the other person in order to make the same retirement. So, what I thought was interesting is that there was no clear-cut winner. I mean, there is a clear-cut winner, right? Yeah, you must really love your job. Not only that, but you must start when you're like 5 and end when you're 106. So either that job is really, I don't know. But anyway. If you, what I'm saying is, like, there is no clear-cut winner. You would have thought, I bet you guys thought that, like, I want you guys to choose the exponential function. But really, that doesn't work if you plan on staying there for less than 18 years. So, there's these different options that you need to choose, right? Like, you get this job, but do you plan on being in that job for over 20 years? Now, if you do, choose option C. But if you don't, then choose option B or A. Does that make sense? Because it said after the first year you have to choose something else. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's go through the questions because I bet you we figured out all their questions before we. Answers before they ask this, but we'll go through this anyway. How much does an employee have to earned after 20 years of service. Okay, well, all of these are kind of easy. Let's do that. All right. Really, on option B, 20 years of service, you earn $40,000. No, not 40,000, $400,000. All right. As the employee, as an Acme employee, you find yourself, or you yourself may end up choosing Plan B for your own retirement. One way to fund your retirement, in addition to your investment, is to invest a lump sum into an interest-bearing account and live off the interest. That is to say, you leave the lump sum in the investment and never spending it, and you only spend the interest. If you have 20 years invested and earn 1% of interest per month, that's 12% a year, and always spent the entire interest in the principal, never increased, what would be your monthly allowance? So basically they're asking, what is, do you guys understand what it's saying? And this is a really good idea. Yeah, basically what they're saying is like, all right, if I ever die, so I'm the only one who works in my family, and if I ever die, my wife and my kids are kind of in trouble because my wife doesn't work. She stays home and takes care of the kids, right? So what I want to do is I'm going to find a life insurance plan that takes up to like 10% of my, that is 10 times the amount that I make. Now I don't have this in place, but I mean this is my plan. I want to get a life insurance plan that is 10 times the amount that I make. Because then what I'll do is I'll say, all right, you get all of this money. What I'm going to tell my wife to do is put that money in the bank and get the interest, right? And let's find a bank, or let's invest it in something that gives you at least 10% per year. So that way you're still pulling in the same amount of money, and you can live off of the same amount of money without having to go to work. So you take all this money that you put in, and you put it in the bank, and then you don't ever have to work because you can just. The problem is you'll have a set amount of money that you can live off of. And, you'll still essentially be poor, but I mean at least then you can still live a certain lifestyle without having to go to work or like do all of that kind of stuff. Anyway, whatever. So really, what the question is asking: what is 12% of this thing? So here's what we'll do. Let's do 12%. And we'll just say this equals this times 0.12 equals this times 0.12 equals this times 0.12. So if you take all of this money and invest and you get 12% back, here's what your allowance would be. Here's how much money you could spend per year. So like over here, you could spend $125,000 per year on 12% interest. Is that right? Oh yeah, all right, yeah, that makes sense. Over here, 12% interest is $48,000. You could live off of $48,000. So if you choose option B and you put your entire $400,000 inside of an investment account, then you don't have to work. And not only that, but that's one of those things where you can just pass that money on to your kids, and then they'll have $400,000, whatever. Yeah, I don't know any custom, places that go, exponential growth. But then again, actually, it is in real life. Like, that kind of stuff is in real life. The problem is people don't stay in it long enough for them to actually see the big difference. Because that thing you got to stay in there for a long time. They probably set it up where that thing doesn't work until like 40 years. So, you're kind of enslaved to this company for the next 40 years of your life. You see what I mean? But in the end, it works out. all of this, like a lot of this stuff that has to do with investments, so a lot of it's based off of exponential growth or exponential decay or all of that kind of stuff. The equations for interest and growth and all of that kind of stuff in retirement, those are all, I mean, not all, but those are based off of these exponential equations. But, like, people don't really see the advantage of it. So this is why I'm showing this to you, because, like, if you really did the math, you would find out that, hey, one is way better than the other, even though initially it looks to me like the red's the best one. You know what I mean? And not only that, the red is the best one if you plan on working there more than 11 years but less than 18 years. Choose the red. You'll get more money. If you plan on working there less than 11 years, and 11 years is a long time. If you plan on working less than 11 years, choose the blue. But if you plan on working there 19 years or more, choose the orange. Way better. You can see it in this graph. Cool? All right, let's see. Plan C provides more lump sum benefit than Plan B, provided the employee works for how many years? Answer is 19. We already saw that. Suppose Plan C, or you choose Plan C, but the health issues force you to retire during the 20th year prior to completing the last service. How much less of your retirement sum will you receive, as opposed to if you work 20 years? So if you say you work 19 years and 8 months, and you didn't work 20 years exactly, you can only claim 19 years, which would put you into this category, and you would make actually a lot less. You would make, it's almost half. You would make a half. If you put in the extra 4 months, you put in half. Man, if I had to put an extra 4 months, I would just be like, screw it, dude, let's do it. You know what I mean? Let's just go. I'll make twice as much. All right. Here we go. Suppose Plan B required you to turn how much less. All right. All of this stuff is easy to figure out once we made this graph. Like, I'm kind of skipping over all of these questions because it's almost like, well, you just look over here and you subtract this thing from that thing. I guess it was really advantageous of me to show you, like, this is how I, as a math teacher, would do it. I'd make this little table and then look at this and look at the chart. The chart is actually really helpful. So these are different forms of the data. They give us equations, right? They give us, that's one form of the data. They gave us a table, which is very helpful, and they gave us a chart. Now, these are 3 different ways to represent the same thing. The chart is obviously really easy to see when you want to display information and see it real quick and boom, bada bing, bada boom. If you want to find detailed information, I would look at this little table over here and look up the numbers. It's hard to see trends, but it's nice to see, like, it's easy to see details. I can tell you exactly which year you would be making more money. So like at year 18, you look, and Plan B makes the most money, but at year 19, Plan C makes the most money. I can tell you the difference between those two. Are we cool? All right. I think that's it. That was actually kind of fun. Let's see. Why do you think the employer designed the maximum number of years employees can contribute to the retirement plan? So here's my question. Question 9. Why do you think there's a maximum number? Why do you think they capped it off at 20 years? Yeah, because if someone chose C and they kept on working, I mean, here's what it would look like. Now let's just go all the way up. It'd be horrible for these guys. I mean, essentially, if you work 40 years, you'd be pulling in I don't even know how to say that. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right. Oh, okay. You would be pulling in 1 trillion, almost $2 trillion. Like, look, this thing increased so fast that you can't even see plan A and B because they are so small in comparison to plan C. Obviously, they need to put a cap on that. But here's the problem with the cap that I would foresee is, shoot, if I were working for that company, after 40 years, I'd retire. You know what I mean? I mean, if I'm not going to make any more money on my retirement, I'm not adding money to my retirement. I mean, sure, maybe you might be making a salary. You might even be making a really good salary. But, like, you know, shoot, retire. Retire and then invest, do exactly what they say. Invest in an account, make 12% off of that, and then live off of $125,000 a year. You wouldn't be doing that bad. You know what I mean? Does this count tax? Well, if you want to learn about tax, we're going to have to learn about these exponential functions. So I think that this is what's really cool about these exponential functions. You guys be like, oh man, I don't understand this. I don't like these things. But really, like, these exponential functions are really helpful. All right, let's take a look at this one. This is almost fun for me. I'm going to stop this video. I'm going to start up another one.